What happens when you tariff the whole world? Simple, the world hits back. And President Donald Trump is learning that the hard way. Most countries have vowed retaliation. Some have already done it, like Canada and China. Yesterday, Canada imposed tariffs on U.S. goods, specifically on American cars. Most of them will soon attract 25% tariffs. And how many vehicles would it affect? Nearly 67,000 every year.
As I told President Trump during our call last week, Canada will respond to the U.S. auto tariffs. And today I'm announcing that the Government of Canada will be responding by matching the U.S. approach, with 25% tariffs on all vehicles imported from the United States that are not compliant with CUSMA.
Remember, Trump had already imposed steep tariffs on Canada, so he spared them on Wednesday, but his auto tariffs will affect Canada. Trump has slapped 25% tariffs on all foreign cars, 25%, which is why Canada has hit back. China, too, has retaliated. They will impose 34% tariffs on all U.S. goods. Why 34? Because that's what Trump is planning to charge China. He had already imposed a 20% blanket tariff on them. This week, he added 34% to that. China's tariffs will come into effect on the 10th of April. They're also curbing the sale of rare earths. 7 items used in consumer electronics have been listed. China will limit their exports to the U.S., and they're not done yet. Beijing is also taking Trump to court. They have already filed a lawsuit at the WTO, the World Trade Organization. China says Trump's tariffs violate established trade rules. Now, all of these are major moves. They pit the world's biggest economies against each other, America versus China, the top 2 global economies. Their bilateral trade is worth $580 billion. And that trade is now at major risk. Trump's tariffs will kick in on April 9 and China's on April 10. Meaning, next week, we will officially be in a trade war. Of course, this was expected from China. How else would a rival react to tariffs? But more worrying for Trump should be Europe's reaction. Yesterday, EU President Ursula von der Leyen promised retaliation. Later, French President Emmanuel Macron proposed a new idea. He wants to suspend all European investments in America.
I think what's important, and that's all the work that must be done by the sector, that future investments or investments announced in recent weeks should be suspended until things are clarified with the United States. Because what message will it send to have big European players investing billions of euros in the American economy at a time when we're being hit?
So how much money is at stake here? EU companies have invested $2.4 trillion in the US. That is the total investment. 2.4 trillion, obviously you cannot reverse the past deals. You can only suspend the new ones. And this will have a big impact on the US economy, but it also reveals Europe's insecurity. Many EU firms are trying to cut deals with Trump. Basically, they're trying to get individual concessions. For example, shipping firm CMA-CGM, they announced $20 billion of investments in America. Luxury goods giant LVMH is planning more US investments. But now French President Macron is warning against it. He wants Europe to respond in one voice. And chances are they will hit back in kind. But expect it to take more time. The EU is expected to announce one round of tariffs by mid-April. They will target symbolic US goods like blue jeans, orange juice, and Harley-Davidson bikes. Now, just to be clear, this is not a response to this week's tariff. This is a response to Trump's earlier steel and aluminum tariffs. And that's the thing about the European Union. They always work behind schedules. Next is Britain. Trump has imposed just 10% tariffs on them. He says Prime Minister Keir Starmer was quite happy about it.
We're talking to the Prime Minister about it, and we'll see how that turns out. We have a very good dialogue going. And I think he was very happy about how we treated them with tariffs.
The UK is trying to reach a trade deal with America. At the same time, they're drawing up plans to retaliate. London is making a list of US goods that can be targeted. They have set a deadline of May 1st. If a deal is not reached by then, they will impose tariffs on America. So the UK's approach is more cautious. And they're not alone. A number of countries are pursuing talks. Argentina, Mexico, India, Japan, South Korea. None of these countries have hit back yet. Instead, they're trying to talk things out with President Trump. A few countries are also planning ahead. They know that certain industries will be hit by the tariffs, so they're setting aside money to support them. For example, Taiwan, their government has announced a package of $2.7 billion. This will mostly help industries and agriculture. The fact is, every country would like to settle this issue with talks. After all, the US is the biggest market in the world. But the problem is, they don't know what Trump wants. Does he want to reduce the deficit? Does he want to make in America? Does he want fairer trade rules, or does he want all of this? It is not clear. And remember, these responses will keep piling up. Other countries just have to deal with America's tariffs, but America has to deal with tariffs from all over the world. Let's see how long Trump can keep this up.